Hey guys, IcyCat here. Today I wanted to talk to you about the recent nerf that has come to Twitch. It's super controversial and a lot of people are actually really upset about it, but I wanted to take the time to explain why I think it's actually not as bad of a thing as it maybe at first seemed, and why it's actually an improvement to the overall meta of the game. Let's talk about it more next. So in the video I did the other day regarding the newest patch update 4.2 that's currently being tested live on the test server, we talked about how we were getting a round of buffs and nerfs, and really this was a very nerf-heavy mid-season reinforcement patch. The most controversial one that had a lot of people really up in arms was the nerf that was coming to Twitch. In fact, if you go on the official forums or subreddit, you will see that there's a lot of conversation that is kind of centering on this topic right now. And even the comments on the video that I did about it, there was an overwhelmingly disproportionate amount of people just saying that this was like the worst thing to ever happen to Twitch and why are they wrecking the game? In fact, it's such a controversial topic that the newest community manager, UB Tone, posted this on the official subreddit. He said that after speaking with the lead of our balancing team, we have a bit more information to share with you regarding the reasoning behind the changes to Twitch's shock drone. One of the major complaints that we have seen is regarding how easily killed Twitch's drone is, so why would she need a nerf? The shock drone is the most stealthy drone in the game. It makes nearly no noise when moving, and is only really detectable when it fires. Reducing the number of charges will make the players stop to think about what they feel is worth shooting, and what is not. The other reason behind the change is that we are going to refer to what they call gadget economy. Given that she currently has 30 total charges available, this could lead to all Defender cameras and most gadgets being destroyed. This is simply too much. Being able to destroy 10 gadgets means that players will have to make a conscious decision on which Defender gadgets to leave up or destroy instead of killing all Defender cameras, all the Defender gadgets, and having a few shots to spare for an unsuspecting operator. In line with this, it is important to note that the average number of gadgets destroyed by one shock drone in a single round is 1.4. This includes cameras. This ties into the previous point regarding the shock drone being spotted when it shoots. As with all changes, we are going to continue to monitor feedback after you've had a chance to actually play with the changes and make adjustments if we feel it's necessary. Okay, so let's talk about this real quick. One thing that I sort of disagree with, it's not a major point, but they say that one of the justifications used for making this decision was that you only shoot the drone when you see it fire, but because it's so stealthy and quiet, you otherwise wouldn't. That's kind of the point that they're making there. And I'm going to actually disagree with that a little bit. I do agree that when you see the drone fire, it makes it easier to trace back its position and more likely to kill it. That I agree with. As far as the sound goes, for me, the fact that it's quieter it's like, that's a nice bonus. But I don't know about you guys, but I really don't solo queue when I play. I always play with a group of, like 3, 4, 5 other people, and we're in a party chat, so there's crosstalk. The fact that I hear a drone is very rare for the reason to know where it is, right? So the justification that I can't hear Twitch's drone should be the reason why this change is made, because otherwise it's the firing that reveals it, is not really the case for me. I see the drone moving. It's the motion rolling across the floor that I know there's a drone there, shoot it. It's that motion that I see. And Twitch's drone, while it is quieter, is actually twice as large as any other drone. So seeing that movement rolling across is actually far easier to spot. It's not the biggest point, but since they were saying that that was part of the justification for their reason, I did want to address that. But then they go on to talk about how the Twitch drones, between the two of them, they have 30 shots, and now they're going down to 5 shots each. And because the reason is that they don't want that one operator to be able to take out the entire enemy defenses for their gadgets and their cameras, plus still be able to harass the players. I think that that's a really important point. Twitch was never supposed to be that powerful that one operator all by herself could basically destroy the entire setup that the defenders are putting up. That's just frankly a little overpowered. The only drawback to having the 10 shots as opposed to the 30 is, of course, that sometimes your shots will miss. There does seem to occasionally be some lag when you shoot with her, where you pull the trigger and like a half second later the shot actually goes out. And that can be a problem if you are actually doing this on the fly. If you're rolling around at high speed and trying to hit a target while you're moving, that little half second of lag when you shoot can sometimes cause you to wind up just missing your target. If you can stand still for a second, you're generally going to be fine. Unless you're out of range, which can also sometimes cause you to miss your target. You might be looking right at it, but you're just on the outside of that range, and you have to get closer to take a second shot to actually hit it. When those situations happen, having only a 5 count of darts, that could be a little bit of a bad thing. So you're going to have to be really careful about when you take those shots. I'd almost like to see it maybe be like, instead of 5, like 7, 8 tops. But 30 between the two drones was definitely way too much. I'm somebody that plays a lot of Twitch. There's so much versatility there. It's not just her shock drone that's so useful. She has one of the best assault rifles in the game. It does low damage, but it's got a great rate of fire, super accurate, very controllable recoil profile. If you prefer precision shooting, she's got the DMR so that you can be more accurate. It's not the best DMR in the game, but if that's your playstyle, you can accommodate it. She's also one of the few attacking operators that actually has the choice to take an offensive shotgun if she wants to. She's got a claymore for covering your back and watching other flanking routes. I mean, she's just super versatile overall. In fact, there's some people that will choose that operator and then not even really use her shock drone outside of the prep phase, and they're really depending on her solid gunplay skills instead. So as somebody who plays a lot of Twitch, I had that kind of emotional reaction at first too. I was like, no, I play her a lot and I don't want to see that functionality taken away from her. But that was like a knee-jerk reaction when it first happens and you see a character that you use a lot getting something taken away from them. But now think about it, just take a step back and think about the greater overall meta of the game. How does this operator interact with other operators both on her team as well as the opposing team, and what does that mean for the game overall? I mean, let's think about this. This actually indirectly buffs operators that also affect electronic gadgets as their specialty, like Thatcher and IQ. This doesn't just affect the meta on the attacking side of the coin though. Think about it from the defender's perspective. You're now actually creating a lot of viability for operators that kind of saw Twitch harass their gadgets into death and they would have no real reason to pick them. I mean, how many times might you play Mira and you get so frustrated by that Twitch drone coming in and opening your window right away? That went from taking her ability to being something that was useful for the defensive team to something that was now a liability for the defensive team. And Twitch can still do that. But now she's got to make the choice. If she takes out those Mira windows, now those are 2 cameras that she can't take out, or those are 2, bandit charges or mute devices that she can't take out now because she took out those mirrors instead. Before, there was literally no penalty for her to go after anything and everything. Now she's got some decisions to make. As someone that's a mute main, I can definitely tell you that Twitch was a pain in the butt there too. The range of her taser is actually longer than the range of mute's jam, but even if Twitch can still take out those devices, she's not going to have enough reserves to take out everything else. So that means like before when she had those 30, she's going to come in and she's going to take out all the Kapkan traps too. She might take out the Jaeger ADS units. Anything she can see, she would be able to shoot. But now maybe she does take out those mutant bandit charges still, and that's still annoying to those players, but the Jaeger ADS units still survive because she didn't have enough rounds to take those out. So now when they toss smoke grenades or flashbangs into the room, they really won't be able to do that because those devices could actually survive because Twitch couldn't get them all. And in fact, she probably made a conscious decision to avoid those devices because they aren't as high priority as things like the jammers or the batteries. It also shifts the meta of the game in another very important way. Now, some people are going to say defenders already have a higher win rate than attackers in the game to begin with, so making this change that actually reinforces the defenders is a bad thing. But let's think about this. Why do the defenders currently have an advantage in the game? There's a number of factors. There's no one reason you can pinpoint. But one major shift that we've seen in the game is that there are a lot of roaming operators. They are frequently used. It's not uncommon to see a lot of, picks that go along with like Ella and Cav and Pulse, and they're running around and doing all kinds of things that are just harassing the players as they come into the structure. And so people aren't playing a lot of objective anchors or objective defense. And roaming is a totally valid strategy, and that's part of the reason why it works. But there's also this other subclass of characters that are like, hey, every time I pick Mira, my windows just get shot anyway, or every time I take Bandit, my batteries just get shot anyway, so why bother if my ability is going to be taken out like right away while we're still in the prep phase, and now my ability is useless. Like, if Twitch is just going to take everything out, why even bother? There are players that fit that mold, and now they have more of a reason to take those operators because, hey, my gadgets are probably going to still be useful, or maybe 1 or 2 of them will get taken out, but some of them will still work. Like, there's more incentive for those players to take other kinds of operators. Now, don't get me wrong. People that are still aggressive roamers and rushers are still going to play that way. This isn't going to affect them. If you are a dedicated Ashen Jaeger main, you are probably going to continue to still be a dedicated Ashen Jaeger main, or some variant thereof. But for people that would wind up taking other kinds of operators because their abilities were pretty much useless in the face of Twitch, and let's face it, there's a fair amount of them. If you know that whatever you're kind of doing is just going to wind up being useless and countered by 30 Twitch darts. Not that everybody got all 30 shots off, that pretty much never happens, but still the point remains. Like I said, it's not the only reason defense tends to win, but it is one of many contributing factors. This also takes care of one other problem. We've all been on the receiving end of somebody with a Twitch drone that just goes nuts on us as we're setting up our defenses. They harass the defending team as they're setting up, and some players will even get shot by it a few times before they manage to figure out where it is and do something about it. You're really not going to see that kind of behavior anymore going forward once this nerf is fully implemented on all platforms. The decision is going to become, what do I do with it? And if you have a player that just wants to spam the drone against other operators, then you can do that, but now you're making it so that drone can no longer take out the gadgets or the cameras. And I think there's still a balance to be had in that. Using a taser to distract like that last defender that's holed up in there, maybe you shoot them just as somebody's about to breach in, it distracts them just at the right moment, it winds up being pivotal. You can still do that, but we're talking about something that's more of a clutch situation, a specific scenario, rather than just being able to spam because, hey, I've got 20 extra darts to work with and might as well. Likewise, firing a taser dart into somebody that's been put into a down but not out state so as to finish them off is still something that you can do, and it could be a very pivotal thing by finishing off that player. More so than doing it just because you can, because you have so many darts and you're harassing players as they run around. The last bit I'm going to say about this is that we should all try to keep in mind that this is a game that's constantly changing and evolving. They try new things out. Sometimes they're good ideas and sometimes they're not so good ideas. But they said up front in what they laid out here that this is something that they're going to monitor and they're going to see how it goes once it's deployed, and they're willing to make any changes necessary if they see it's not really a good thing for the game. Especially once we look outside of just her as an operator and see how she affects both her teammates as well as the impact to the way the game plays with the opposing team. Once we see that larger picture, it becomes a little easier to understand. But the other component to this is, okay, they admit on their end, they're trying this change out, there's some reasons for it, and they're going to see how it goes, and they're willing to make the changes if they need to. But on our end, we need to be willing to try it and see how it goes. A lot of us are making these emotional calls based on characters that we like and not really seeing how it actually winds up playing out. So we've got to try this and see, does it actually make the game better? Yeah, maybe Twitch is your favorite character and you can't do as much destruction with her on gadgets and cameras that you used to be able to do, but if it improves the overall flow of the game, then isn't that a good thing? Now, this is just my opinion on the matter. Of course, not everybody is going to agree on that, and that's okay as long as we keep any disagreement respectful and civil. Debate on these kinds of things is always a good thing. But let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. Do you think that maybe this was a good change for Twitch after all, now that you've kind of seen all the evidence laid out? Or do you still feel like this was a nerf that just went too far and should never have been done? There's not really a right or wrong answer on this. Everybody has different feelings on the matter. But share with me in the comments down below or let me know over at IcyCat25 on either Facebook or Twitter. If you haven't already, please do like and subscribe. Make sure you click that notification icon so you're alerted as soon as I make new content available. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time.